I like to see that.
Okay, 4 o'clock.
Good afternoon. We're going to call the Warrick County Commissioners Board meeting to order. Today is April 10th, 2023. Sheriff, can you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business is area plan.
We have one request for an extension of surety, commercial entrance C20081, 722 South Yankeetown Road by Vertical Bridge Holdco LLC, holding $15,000 at escrow guaranteeing the entrance construction. They're asking for a 1-year extension at the same amount, and they've had 2 years. The surety expires April 19th of 2023, and the county engineer has signed off that the dollar amount would be sufficient to cover construction.
All good, Bobby?
Yeah, the dollar amount is sufficient.
Bobby, how come they're not putting in the entrance? What's the holdup?
Well, first they did the tower, and the tower crew was not the same as, I guess, the driveway crew. So they built it got the tower part done, and no one ever came back and did the drive. So they realized that they didn't meet the plan, and there was a miscommunication on their end, from what I understand from the correspondence.
Okay. All right, I was just curious. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
My motion carries 3-0.
We have a request for reduction of surety at Spring Creek 2 PUD by Knight Creek LLC. John Elpers, manager, holding a letter of credit totaling $3,000 for street construction. They're asking for a 1-year extension at $1,000. They have had 3 years, and this letter of credit expires May 15th of 2023. And the county engineer has signed off on that dollar amount as well.
Yeah, the dollar amount's sufficient. There's basically just some backfilling of the curbs.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
My motion carries 3-0.
Our last item, the agenda is worded wrong. It should say street construction plans. It's for a primary plat, PP 2304, Parker Estates. Petitioner owners, Joe Camp, Elizabeth Parker, approximately 34.013 acres on the north side of Elberfeld Road, quarter-mile east of the intersection of Elberfeld and St. John's Road. They are requesting no improvements to Elberfeld Road. And this was advertised in the Standard March 30th of 23.
The small lot development, well, a small amount of lots, large lots, and I signed off recommending no improvements.
How big are the lots? Over 2.5 acres.
Got the acreage. 115, 1.6, 1.8, and then 1.2.5.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor?
All right.
My motion carries 3-0.
Okay, that's all for the Area Plan Commission.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Molly.
Molly.
Thank you, Molly.
Next order of business is under our action agenda, the approval of minutes from the March 27th, 2023 regular session.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
My motion carries 3-0. And the next order of business is a petition to incorporate the town of Victoria Woods. We have this tabled from last meeting. Jordan, go ahead.
Yep, Jordan Eigner, representing Oakland Holdings, petitioner. And I've got a couple comments that I would want to bring to the board for record, but I believe there are some folks that maybe hadn't spoken last time or at the other public meetings. So if you guys are okay, maybe I'll step aside and let whomever have their comments first.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Sure.
Just, okay. So I'll let you ask whomever.
If we could, when you come up, state your name for the record. Try to limit it to about a minute. And Mr. Mattingly, go ahead.
Jeremy Mattingly with Mattingly Homes and Development. So I live in the neighborhood. I'm a current resident, one of 3 so far. I own several properties in there. And then I'm also working with 12 people specifically right now, either under construction or living there, or we're, designing their home. And out of those 12 people, I know that in the last meeting, one of the things we were talking about was where were these people coming from? And are we going to be bringing people in? Out of those 12, right now, I have 3 that are either out of state or out of county. And then I work with several realtors in there as well that have several people that we're getting ready to bring in to show some of the houses that we have in there right now. So, that's a huge percentage of what we're doing just right out the gate. That's bringing in people, from out of the area, that maybe necessarily wouldn't already.
Can you give me an idea of approximately what kind of area are these people coming from? Are they coming from Nashville? Are they coming from
Yeah.
Indy? They coming from?
So right now, the 3 people that I'm working with, I've got one from Atlanta, one from like Effingham, Illinois, and then one from Vanderbilt County. I know that I talked with a realtor on the way here, and she's bringing somebody in next week from Rhode Island. And what she was telling me was, like with these, they're bringing a lot of docs, and the hospital's bringing a lot of people in right now in medical, and so that's a big draw off is this area for a lot of that kind of traffic. And so it's kind of all over, like I say, Rhode Island to Atlanta to Illinois
That's what I
to
wanted to
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay.
Questions? Hang on for me.
I'm John Wilson.
I'm gonna call somebody else up next.
Oh, well, okay, I'm up.
Janice.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I didn't know we had a sign.
I didn't either. Okay. Hi, I'm Janice Miller, and I own the ERA franchise in the tri-state area. And I'm waiting on a number right now. We actually sell 45% of all homes that sell in Warrick County compared to other real estate companies. And this is something new. This is something totally different. It's like a vision. When the Eigners approached me with it, it was like, it's a vision of something that is happening in larger cities, Louisville, Indianapolis. They have all those little outlying areas. Of course, then they get bigger and bigger. But out of all the lots that have sold out there, I have sold 95% of all those lots. And those people, when we went to them and talked to them about this becoming its own city, they are excited. They're very excited about it. They all signed off. There was not one person that had any question. They signed off immediately because they want this to be something different. The people that are coming in, I have quite a few coming in from Illinois. Apparently taxes are extremely high in Illinois, so they move here. And I don't know why. The physicians, I know of 4 physicians that will be here by Friday to buy a home. We don't have enough homes right now to sell them. There is one home in particular that there'll be a bidding war on it this Friday because we don't have enough homes in Warrick County to sell to these 4 physicians. They start July 1st. That's when the new physicians begin here. And right now, for the price range and what they're wanting, it's just not available. So let me see. I think the small town in Indiana, that's what this will become, the newest, smallest town in Indiana. And I'm just hearing not only the local the out-of-town people. I also hear it from local, but mainly I've sold those lots to people that are in apartments, or there's some that have moved into smaller homes in the Newburgh area. Trying to think, in the Boonville area, we may have had, yes, one or two, but they're going to build homes out there, then that will allow their homes to become available. So any questions you would have for me? I'm looking to see right now what, last year, our company sold 778 homes here in Warrick County.
I have a question for you,
Okay.
and I'm not sure exactly how to ask it, but how much more affordable is Warrick County right now? Even these homes, which are higher end homes than say Effingham or Atlanta, where these folks are coming from.
We're catching up with them, but it's still, Nashville is out of sight. They
Right.
can't afford Nashville at all anymore. Indianapolis and those outlying areas, the same thing. They come here and they get a lot more home. But a lot of areas we're equal to them. The biggest thing are when they look at taxes, and for Boonville, that's why, if you ever want to ask why they don't want to move inside Boonville, it's because of the taxes. They can't afford it. The taxes and the utilities are so much higher inside Boonville. So this is the most exciting thing in real estate that we've had, is to have this new town, and that vision of having it right in between the two cities. I believe it would be huge, and we'll attract that many more people to move into this area and bring that many more tax dollars.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wait, no, you didn't get off that easy.
Mhm.
So, Janice, I have a question for you.
Okay.
So you mentioned the lack of inventory.
Mhm.
So is a lack of inventory a good thing or a bad thing for, I'm not talking about you, the realtor.
Mhm.
I'm talking about for consumers. What is the lack of inventory? How does that help or hurt consumers?
It actually hurts everyone. It hurts everyone. Realtors, we're always the bad guy, because just before I left and came up here, I had 3 offers on one house. We have to
So-
tell 2 of them they didn't get it, and they're mad. They're mad at us.
So what's it do to prices, lack of inventory?
Well, it drives prices up, but with interest rates, people can't go up that much. And
Right. So, but also, that doesn't help us, because when people are bidding for homes because of lack of inventory, that creates a larger, higher assessed valuation, which we all saw what assessed valuations are doing. So in a sense, it hurts all of us a little bit, because everything's being pushed up.
you mean when there is a lack of inventory?
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's why we need more homes.
I knew the answer to that question. I
Yeah.
just wanted to hear it
I
from
mean,
you.
we need the homes, and we need it in an exciting area where people will buy them. And I mean, I've lived in Boonville all my life. My parents both lived here until they passed away. So Boonville is actually like my home. That's where, if someone said, "Where are you from?" I'm originally from Boonville, Indiana. That's where I'm from. But when you tell people that name, I wish we could just change the name, because people from out of state, sometimes they're like, "Where? What? Is that out in the boonies?" So whether we like it or not, that becomes a problem.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John, behave.
I won't behave. This is John Wilson.
What do you got to say, John?
Oh, I was waiting to be nice, waiting. Hey, that ground that you're talking about, that town, that's all coal ground. And I've been around Warrick County all my life. And I think it needs to be Jerry Eigner and his kids need to put a 50-year warranty on that, because coal ground falls apart. That girl that sells right there, she needs to put on there too. And all of them, they need to put a 50-year warranty on that, because that ground falls apart. Insurance will not pay anything. You got to pay more than what it's worth.
John, are you an insurance person?
I talk to
Insurance
insurance
business?
people. I deal with all my equipment. I work on my cars. Common sense, you can see what's falling apart. And she said big on taxes. I was over there waiting for 2 hours, and I was down there in the auto department. And these people was 70 years old. People was 40. They're in there getting it signed because they can't afford the taxes. So she said you can make a billions of dollars. She needs to go down there and learn. I got so many people, neighbors, that are bankrupting right now. So if they do that, bank's going to have to bankrupt it, and that ground over falling apart. That's what they're going to have 50 more. I didn't have it on my news. I'm going to put it on news that people that sees us as bankrupt, they're going to have to put that on there, because if they don't have it, Jerry all should have like a $2 million on the insurance in case something don't fall.
Okay.
That's fine.
John, your minute's up.
Yeah, that's why she got to talk longer. So I just put it on news, and I'll show what's going on, that everybody at Warrick County needs to go, or Alabama, Kentucky, that they need to look on that needs to be changed and paid for.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Okay, is anybody else here to speak on Victoria Woods?
Yes. Hi,
Welcome,
guys.
sir. I don't know your name.
Dave Martin with Martin Brothers Construction, Martin Brothers Properties. We're building over in that subdivision as well at 2270 Victoria Woods. Janice is going to list the house for us on Wednesday at 12. We're very excited about the subdivision, very excited about the prospect of it growing. We are teamed up with the Eigner family. We intend to stay over there building throughout the duration of the project. Contrary to what the gentleman just said, before me, we're excited about it. The Eigners have worked very hard over there, planned this for 10 years. They don't look at that thing lightly. These guys know what they're doing. We're very proud of what they've done at this point. The place looks fabulous. Our home is going to be a parade home there this year, the first week of June. Janice has got some people from out of town that she's already talked to us about that she's going to show the house to. So that's really what I've got to say. We're intending to be over there while they're building this entire time. If it takes 5 years or 8 years or 10 years, whatever it takes. So that's what I wanted to say.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks very much.
Dave, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. Mr.
Go
Brady.
ahead.
Just on the comment was made before you, as a builder, are you not responsible for foundations for a certain period of time per state statute?
Well, anytime you're building on coal mine ground, all of Warrick counties, there's coal mine ground all over Warrick County. And there's coal mine ground that even, for example, in Newburgh, like off of Sharon Road, Broadview subdivision, there's shafts that were put in 100 years ago. They didn't even plot where they were being dug at. And so there's constantly a chance that something could settle, but there's systems that they can put in place if that ever did happen. But there's no guarantee in Warrick County that there's not going to be some kind of an issue.
Right.
There could be under anybody. There was a time 30 years ago when the old Wesselman's grocery store off of 261, there was a mine shaft right there, and it just caved in the parking lot right there. But nobody knew that there was a shaft there because there weren't records kept. And so, yes, there's a chance that could happen. But the Eigner family has worked very hard to take care of that type of an issue, what they've been doing. And so, yeah, there's always a chance something could happen like that.
But as a builder, are you not somewhat responsible for that foundation for a period of time?
There's a 10-year, warranty that the builders are to put out, on a property. So, is there a chance that something like that could happen? Yes, there is.
But it's not just up to the homeowner. You got to put a little skin in the game.
We've got
some
skin in the game.
Okay.
And doesn't our building commission establish a certain type of foundation?
They've got a certain type of foundation, and that's what we put in on our properties. And exactly right. And that's what's been recommended for a long time in the area, not a short time. And so that's what almost all the builders that build up in this area, that's what they use. It's required, or definitely recommended. It may not be required, but definitely recommended. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
right,
you.
guys.
Thank
Thank
Jerry.
you.
Thank you.
John, sit down, please.
Well, that's the same thing. He's talking. It needs to be a 50-year warranty on that. Jerry needs to put down in there and put that in the bank over
John.
2 million.
John,
Sit down, please. Okay, anyone else?
Okay. Thank you, guys. So I thought, we've had a couple public meetings, and we've been tabled. So I've tried to kind of glean from other county offices or just people in the area some questions. So I thought maybe I would just kind of go through the question and maybe a response. Some of these have happened in some different meetings, but I just kind of want to bring them to them. You can stop me anytime. And if I'm redundant, just ask me to move on. So one of the questions came out was, what if there's not enough people to start the town, right? Jeremy Mattingly alluded to it. We do have 3 residents, technically really have 4. There was an existing cabin that was part of the project and it's within the boundaries. So we really have 4 residents there now. There are several other homes under construction. So I think there's a chance we might even have 7 people living there by the end of the year. Certainly 3 now. And our attorney and counsel has told us that they have done this before with just 2 people. Okay. So I'm kind of considering that one resolved, that we right now have enough people. Number 2, this kind of came up at area plan. Is this too early to incorporate? Okay. We didn't spend a lot of time on that, but it seems like people are saying, well, this is not the time to incorporate. Nobody lives there, So I would just ask, who sets the timeline of when you incorporate? Nobody does. The state law allows for it. You petition in the very thing we're doing right now. We're on schedule with the state law. And so there's no timeline of when you should incorporate. In proper planning, for us, you want to do that on the front end. So you have room for, you plan and leave room for parks and trails, water, open space, large lots, small lots, roads, bridges, docks, boat slips, conservation areas, all things that are incorporated in our development. You can imagine letting a community kind of develop a little haphazardly and then incorporate. I would argue that is much worse, because on the front end, everybody knows the plan, right? So knowing beforehand, people know the vision, they either buy in. If they don't live there. So I think it's absolutely the time to incorporate prior to the major development before the masses get there. This is something that kind of, from a development standpoint, and I do want to, and some of the stuff I'll say is a little bit for the record because I've been hearing some things. We did come to your board with a positive recommendation from the Planning Commission. That's our development board, right? It was 5-1. I was hoping for 100%, but that was good enough for me. And they looked at a lot of things development wise. Okay, so we've passed that. But the question I've heard is, well, what if we approve this, does this create a precedence? Okay. So high level is, I don't think so. And here's why, because I think that if you look at our normal development, and it's before your board all the time, drainage board, you come in here and typically a larger development is anywhere from 20 to 40 acres. And even those 40-acre spots, they almost always do it in phases where you're only recording maybe 20 or 30 lots at a time. Okay. So ours is 600 acres. And we have a master plan of that includes all those things I mentioned. Okay. We've talked about the type of property. It does have those challenges that we have all over Warrick County. But we don't want to run away from those things. We want to see the challenges and solve those challenges so we can have revenue with taxes and people living here. So with that comes planning. We got 30 acres of water that you're around, 60 feet of elevation from one point to the other, this really high topography and lay of the land. It's very unique. It's not a cornfield. And I'm not diminishing a cornfield or a flat area, but as an engineer, and there's a couple in the audience, they would probably tell you, in general, it's a lot easier to develop a flat cornfield than it is what we have. And this goes back to, we talked a lot at Planning Commission about our ordinance. Our ordinance would make this development property not look anything like it needs to look today to preserve that natural beauty. It comes from coal mining, and Mother Nature has taken it over, and it's very beautiful. So that's the challenge. That's the difference between our project and the norm. So to say this starts a precedence, we're coming to you because there's those certain challenges on a large project. I don't think that would happen too often. Okay. Again, this project, or, the petition here, I think it's the first time in 30 years for the whole state that a new town has been petitioned for creation. So statewide, there's not a precedence, right? Hadn't happened in 30 years in 92 counties, But on a positive note to that, what if it starts a precedent? To me, a positive note, if we are recommended to be a town, that will probably show the rest of the state and the region, hey, we're open for business. We're open to big ideas. We can dream big, right? And we can deliver big. So I think if you say no, right, that certainly sends a message. If you say yes, that sends another one. And so I think that's, and like it or not, eyes are on us. People are looking for, we're in an emerging market, okay? And people laugh at me, but I think Warrick County could be the next Carmel area that everybody wants to live in. And that's my goal. Number 4, we had talked about this at length. I'll be short on this. This may affect the county's ability to build the new jail. We work together with the county's financial advisor and ours, third-party review, and I'm considering that concern resolved. With our incorporation, the county could build the jail security that's already appropriated, from my understanding. You could build it 2.5 times with our incorporation. So it's not going to affect that. This one, it could seem a little, contentious, I guess, but I heard it and I want to address it. Why should we allow incorporation? The Eidners are just going to develop it anyways. Okay. Well, maybe it's a valid thought, right? I think that's a little presumptuous that don't worry about it. We got them, bird in the hand. They're just going to keep developing. So why do we want to do this? I haven't made any guarantee to this board or anybody else that we're going to develop 600 acres. I want to see it developed. I want to see it developed as this town. And that is the highest and best use of this property. Okay. But if it's not, it's probably going to look different. Okay. Will we develop something? Probably. We have people that come and ask us all the time for 20 or 30 acres, and they're going to build one rooftop. That's a lot different than 2.5 rooftops per acre, right? On the very same 30 acres. So those folks that have said that, I understand your point, but I don't think it's valid. And I think it's a little, off-putting to be a local developer and hear that we're not going to do this because we're getting the revenue anyways. Why do we want to change it? We don't do that for the businesses that come out of town. And people should know on the record that, and we should give incentives for companies to come. Again, I talked about it last meeting. There's no guarantee those businesses come. We give them hundreds of thousands of dollars of tax incentives. And we give them very good property to come in our industrial parks, and we want them there. And that's the status quo. You're fighting for those people, but not one incentive we've ever given. I'm pretty sure I could say this. I haven't even looked at them. Not one incentive has ever guaranteed a rooftop. My project has delivered 6 in a year, and we haven't asked for any money or any incentives, right? We're just here asking for permission for success together. So try not to sell too much. I'm just telling you. Okay. So it's kind of, I've heard this, it's kind of bad timing. There's a lot of things coming at us as a county. We've got this jail. We've talked about it. There's some bonds I think we're getting ready to issue. There might be even a Senate bill that's coming through that might affect your taxing structure and how funding goes different places. So my project comes along, right? And we're looking at it as a detriment because of the gap that when it starts, it's going to take some of that lit, but it's going to bring so much more once the project is on its feet and successful. And that impact doesn't happen until 2025 anyways. So of all those things, when you have jail and bonds and Senate bills, those are cost. And the fiscal arm of our county is a council, and they're thinking costs, and they should. I'm a revenue. Don't say no to the revenue guy. We're going to bring rooftops in. I guarantee they're here today. I looked at a footer today. So when you think about those, I understand, but we can't get lost on a small detail that will have a gap, okay, and then it will overturn itself by hundreds of percent for the gain. So in that equation, we're the revenue. And just again for the record, we're the project that we have, that our vision is we're going to increase the assessed value by 200 million. That allows taxing structure, as you guys know, is very complicated. It's a layered system. It's a levied system. You have a maximum levy. So in the sense of I'm bringing more tax value, that either allows you one of two things. It allows you to keep your rate the same and increase your revenue, or lower your rate. Both of those work for a conservative council, and I think we have. And that's good to be conservative. But our project lets you live in that area, right? We're not in the spot where, oh gosh, we got this jail, we need to pay for it. Well, we're here to help you exist in. We're going to keep taxes where they are, and everybody else levels out, including the other bodies for the lit as well. So some quick hitters that we've kind of talked about in various boards and various people have asked me. I'll touch a little bit on the reclaim, or I call it reclaimed mine, abandoned mine land. Some of the builders spoke 100%. In fact, today out here we have covenants. Okay, regardless of incorporation or not, we have covenants, and we require 24 inches wide, 14 inches deep, 3 5/8-inch rebars that are 4 inches up from the bottom, and 2 5/8-inch rebars that are 3 inches from the top. That creates a grade beam. It was worked at years ago. I think my dad with the Lake Group worked with Morley, and they kind of said, we need to get a minimum in Warrick County. And that's what it's been for probably 20 years. I looked at it today. We have a very good building inspector. He's overworked. He's got a lot of stuff to do. But we now go out and we look at those footers ourselves, because I want to make sure it's being done correctly. And that's a little extra oversight that we're looking at. Okay. So, and it is being done. It is being done correctly in our county.
Appreciate that.
Any questions on some of those items, or maybe something I might have missed that you guys thought about over the past couple of weeks from the table?
I can't think of anything that I have questions about that we haven't already talked about.
Okay.
I don't have any questions. I just want to say I appreciate all that you and your family and your company is doing for Warrick County. I think you're doing a lot. I have zero doubt that what you're building out there is not going to be a quality place. And I think, we've still got some decisions to make with the board, but I don't see any issues at all.
Okay.
Appreciate your time
Yeah.
and your explanations.
Jordan, I got a couple things.
Okay.
When I first became commissioner, there was a company called Green Life that came in, and I think that's where you purchased this ground from. So I was involved in a lot of those intimate details. One, because it was in kind of my district, my arena. I was on economic development, and that company was from Florida, and they were used to big developments, and they came here with wheelbarrows, empty wheelbarrows, and they were wanting those empty wheelbarrows filled with money.
Yeah.
By the county, by economic development, by the state. The state awarded them a grant of $2 million. And we said, well, we'll do this. We'll do an access road for you. I had a little bit of problem with it because we didn't do it for other developers, other home builders.
Yeah.
And the reason why we did it is because of the challenge of that property. We knew it was going to be expensive. As a matter of fact, I think you were one of on their team of doing some engineering work.
Yeah, we were consulting with them, trying to help out.
I sat through all the different meetings about the challenge of that property. So I just want to say for the record, one, I appreciate you not coming with wheelbarrows and buckets, wanting them filled up with tax dollars. So
Right.
I appreciate that because I understand the challenge of this development. I know you've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars so far.
Mhm.
So one, I appreciate that.
Thank
The other thing that I just want to say, when I retired, I became a home builder, and I've built one home, one spec house, and I thought, God help me. So I used all local contractors, but I just what I realized in writing all those checks, and it was a $250,000 spec home, but I built that in a slow economy.
Yeah.
So two things I wanted to say: it was extraordinary how many checks I wrote to local people and what that does. And at that time, if you remember, about 6 years ago, we were starting to come out of a very slow
Yep.
area and very slow trend. But our economy seems never to hit the lowest part like other areas
I
do.
agree. Yeah, we're insulated a little bit. Yep.
And I'm talking specifically Warrick County.
Mhm.
I know during that time we were doing more homes. I'd looked at the building inspector's report or the engineering, the permits,
Mhm.
and I think with us building, being a desirable place to live, that kept a lot of people working
Mhm.
because that trickled down of what those hundreds of thousands of dollars. And again, the home that I built is a shed compared to what's probably going to be built out there. So my point with this is it does have a significant impact on families who work, the bricklayers, the electricians, the plumbers, the roofers, the siding people, the gutter people, the framers. One of our biggest framers is the Niehaus family. How many people do they employ? 30, 40 people?
Yes, I'd say so. Yeah.
And it's significant.
Yeah.
And so I've always been pro development. We've paid for plans. We like strong planning,
Mhm.
so I just wanted to say I think that keeps. I'm not going to say prop ups our economy, but I think it keeps our economy from hitting the lows
Mhm.
when other economies are really struggling to get, because we have a good development. We have, hospital, medical, we have manufacturing. So that's what we do as commissioners to try to get that balance in here. So we take out the peaks and the valleys and we have
Agreed.
a stable economy.
Well, and you
So-
make a good point with Green Life because that was their challenge as well, and they were not vested, and we lost them. Even with $2.5 million worth of incentives, they still couldn't get over the finish line.
No,
at
they
all.
didn't. They lost that grant because they could not.
They did.
They could
Yeah.
not get.
And so,
that's a good point.
we to date we have put probably $10 million in that project to date, and we've got a lot more to go. And that is local dollars. It's local dollars. Just in two companies, we employ about 54 people. Our payroll last year between those two companies was about $3 million. Local people.
So, and that's another thing that,
You hiring?
This is.
Yes, always hiring. Always hiring. Yes.
You want to?
I do not care. If you can do the work,
Well,
come on.
The big thing about this too is two things: is the vision of you and your team have worked on this, and then that you guys are a local company. If this were to go to hell in a handbasket, I can go by your house and say, Jordan,
We've got to fix it.
we
Yeah,
gotta fix it.
that's right.
So
Yeah.
that's important to me because I know after Green Life was done with this, they were going to move. They bought
They-
one house here.
Right.
They were going to move. And
Yeah.
they did.
Yeah.
Over here.
I think they rented the house.
Did they?
Yeah.
I thought they bought. So
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. But it's just to, maybe to end on a high level thing. I mean, and I'm not sure I'm the guy that's going to say this because I'm selling the project, right? But can you think of another project that's like this in our area, in our county? I can't. And the fact that there's not a project like this, there'll be more, but there's got to be that first one, right? And if you're not growing, what? You're dying, Look at those other counties around us that really struggle. And so we're blessed to be kind of a bedroom community to Evansville and have that population. People can work there, but people want to live here. But to pull someone from that Nashville, Atlanta, Louisville market, you've got to give them something they're seeing in that market that is maybe cheaper, that they can, it's got to be comparable. We're not comparable, guys. We're just kind of developing the low hanging fruit. And that's not a knock. It's just, it's very difficult and expensive to think bigger and out of the box, you know? And so that's why this request is before you.
Well, I know when we go to conferences, we have a lot of other commissioners that come up to us and ask us what we're doing in Warrick County.
Yeah, because they're looking at the numbers.
They're seeing things. So I had one guy that was a veteran commissioner. I was in my first term. He came up talking to me. I told him I'd only been around for a few years, blah, blah. He starts telling me all this. Well, then he finds out where I'm from and he says, well, why didn't you tell me it's from Warrick County? I said, I did. I guess he didn't hear it. He said, then the conversation changed. He started asking me, what were we doing here? What were we doing here?
Right.
So, but, hats off to my other two cohorts because I do think we make some good decisions here and we have some good projects. And so.
I appreciate all of your comments. I mean, we had hoped that you guys would be prepared for a vote. I don't know if you want to consider that or what your thoughts are. If there's other things that you want to, consider, that I haven't hit. I know you've got the county council that you've been talking to just to make sure that everybody's working together and that we can, move forward in a good manner. I haven't had anybody reach out to me, but I'm open for any other future questions, but I do really hope we can kind of close the gap here on a decision soon.
I think we can. So again, just for the record, our options are to accept, decline, or send to referendum. I think we all understand the dynamics of sending it to referendum. That makes zero sense at this point. Obviously, with the tone of the conversation, that we're working toward a positive end result, I do believe. That's only one vote in the room, of course. But I think there's a couple of things that we need to iron out, just minor details.
Okay.
And council, we've talked about those a little bit. I know you've got a deadline of the end of May that you need to get to.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping a couple extra weeks won't hurt. We want to make sure this is a big deal.
I know it is. And
More
if you
than
guys
anybody.
feel like you need just maybe, if we need to extend another meeting, we can do that. I just, I hate to kind of keep,
Understood.
keep going out there, but if that's something that you guys need, and that's fine.
So council, we talked today about phone calls that you would make, and your attorney, your main POC is Mr. Unger.
Yeah, Steve Unger, and maybe that's about the draft ordinance that we prepared or something. If you guys want to look at that and make sure, because we never heard any comments, we prepared it just to say here's what the state normally likes to see. So if you guys are to the point where you want to start looking at that and getting us comments, we could be doing that between now and the next meeting or whatever.
My plan is to reach out and establish that communication next few days.
Okay. All right. So with that being said, just a couple of minor details to iron out.
It's close.
I would entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion to table until the 24th of April.
Okay. 24th.
Mr. Your thoughts?
Second.
Okay. I have a first and a second. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. I'll also say okay to that, and the motion carries 3-0.
Okay. I'll be back.
I know
and
you like commissioners meetings.
Yeah. Love it.
On the
You don't have
24th.
anything else to do.
Yeah. But if you guys do find out that you need my experts or whatever, let me know just so we can, plan travel.
Sure.
I hope
Okay.
we don't, because
I don't
with
think
travel
so.
comes bills. So,
Yeah, I don't think we need.
okay. Thank you. I appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time.
Got so many notes on my paper.
Yeah, I
I
know.
don't know where I'm at here. Next order of business is our county administrator.
Thank you, Mr. President. The only item I have on the agenda for tonight is the consent agenda, which consists of the county auditor claims voucher report date of 4/5/2023, payroll date of Thursday, April 6th, 2023, approval to pay ODP Business Solutions for out of the ARPA funds for the JC flooring project for the supplies to prepare for the installation. Let's see, a purchase of the carpet protectors, the chair mats and JC desks upon receiving that new flooring, and the granting of temporary access for sidewalk improvements to the city of Boonville.
I have no questions.
I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a first and second, all in favor.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Next order of business is our county attorney.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have in front of me an ordinance that would make some amendments to the current public nuisance chapter. These are basically crafted in mind, and I'll pass copies around, crafted in mind to take into account the new code enforcement officer that we have. It's to streamline portions of the process, and that's pretty much the sole focus of the ordinance amendment.
Jeff, you're our inspector. Can you get up here and give us a few words, please, of wisdom? I just want to know if you've looked at this and
I did look over it.
contains everything
Coming
that
at
you
6
and
tomorrow.
John
6.
talked about.
Yeah, I looked over it, and I think he covered everything that we need to get addressed in as far as I know.
Kind of fitting inside the processes that you've developed.
Yeah, it made it clearer. A lot of the stuff we had was kind of vague and kind of up for interpretation, but I think with the stuff that he added, it's kind of clarified it and streamlined it a little bit too.
Okay.
You comfortable with it?
Thank you.
He's gonna draft up formal
Violation
form, so that way I can incorporate that. Hopefully, I won't have to use it very often, but at least it'll be something that is
A tool in your toolbox.
So,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thanks, sir.
This would
I'm
be
good with
ordinance
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2023-6.
06.
Way ahead.
I'll second that.
We have a first and a second, all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
My motion carries 3-0.
Thank you. I have the official copy here. I'll circulate after the meeting. And then next, I have the appointment of the Lane Township trustee.
Does she need to be here?
So I can run through the statutory authority that you have, and responsibility you have today. There's a vacancy in the Lane Township of the trustee position. That initially needs to be filled, if it can be, by a caucus of a party of a departing or the former township trustee. If that's not done and not achieved, then it falls upon the commissioners to be that appointing authority. And so that's where we're at today. So if you have a person that you've reached out to and is willing to fulfill that role, then all that's needed is a motion to appoint that person to that position and a vote.
Okay. And so let's see. This is Linda Orth,
Mhm.
has previously been the township trustee and has raised her hand to volunteer to fill this role, at least temporarily. And I didn't talk to her, so I don't know what that conversation was, but to fill this role through at least the end of this term. Is that correct?
That's
Yeah.
correct.
All right. And so we have Linda Orth on the table.
Make a motion to appoint Lane Township trustee Linda Orth.
Second.
We have a first and a second, all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
My motion carries 3-0.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. Next order of business is our county engineer.
Thank you. I only have one item today, and that is the March billing for Danco. It is application payout number 13 in the amount of $5,907.87.
Bobby, what's that for? Just curious. Just
Mainly, it's some of the plastic, some of the flooring.
Okay.
And then something that they just said is general conditions. I don't know exactly what it is, but they've got some site work left to do around the outside that is accounted for still to do in here. And then the pad for the fuel center still wasn't poured, and I hope to find a reason why tomorrow.
and what? So we still got contingent or hold back and some.
Yes,
some left.
we still have,
Give us those numbers for the record, if you have them.
this lists the retainage at $91,896.85.
That's the retainage.
Yeah, and the balance to finish is around $21,771.
Okay. That was to finish.
Bobby, are you happy with what you're seeing so far?
There are a few things that I need to get changed a little bit, but it's nothing major. But overall, it's coming together pretty nicely. I need to get the fuel system in place, which is separate from this contractor, and then the oil and lube system. It's also separate from this contract.
Has the sewer line been hooked up?
I don't believe so.
I
They
thought
still have.
I thought they were supposed to be hooking all that up last week.
They had not done it last time I was there. So they have added some risers to the oil and water separator, but they were not going across to Macon property yet that I saw. So I'm hoping that we get some answers tomorrow. I was told that there was supposed to have been a summary from the last meeting where I was out on spring break, and I never got that summary from the contractor. So
I had talked to Mike, and I thought he said I talked to him on a Monday or Tuesday, and they were supposed to be there on Thursday hooking that up. So I'm kind of curious as to why that didn't happen. Okay. The project manager.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay.
So I will entertain a motion to approve the Danco pay app.
I make a motion to approve the pay.
Second.
I have a first and a second, all in favor.
All right.
Aye, motion carries 3-0. That's all, Bobby.
That is all I have. Thank you, Mr. President.
Next order of business is grants development.
Good afternoon, Debbie Bennett Steersman with the Grants Development Department. I have one item this evening. The second item listed on the agenda, I would ask that you remove that about the Parks Plan Fund. The item that I do have this evening is regarding ARPA funding to the Health Department. Previously, the commissioners obligated a sum of $14,800 from county ARPA funds to the Health Department for renovation and master plan for the existing health department in the basement. And that was to go to Lamar Architecture and Design. Since that has occurred, there's been also a need to have a concept design budget and master plan for a new animal control building, which is also under the health department. And Lamar Architect sent a revised budget that they could do the preliminary conceptual design and budget for both departments, that for both buildings, and they could keep it at $11,650 to do both. So I asked that they send a new proposal for consideration. I've sent it to the attorney for review. He's reviewed it and finds nothing wrong with the proposal, and I'm bringing it to you this evening for approval.
So same amount of money, just changing the scope of work, right?
It's actually less.
It's less.
Yes.
It's less.
What was that? 11,000?
$11,650.
Well, that's something that's finally gone down in price.
Usually not the highway department.
So just so I understand correctly, so animal control is really in need. So they're gonna do a design and master plan there for out by the jail, and then this also includes what they want to do here in this building in the lower level.
Basement, correct.
Okay.
Again, this is just preliminary concept and budget, not the design into design.
Not the design.
Not design. So you'll have a conceptual design and a budget.
Okay.
It's a lot of money to draw a picture.
So I apologize one more time. I thought it was the same amount of money. It's $11,000.
$650. Actual breakdown is $5,150 for the conceptual design for the basement and $6,500 for the addition, 6,500 square feet at the animal control building.
I'll entertain a motion.
Debbie, I'm sorry to be so dense on this.
It's okay.
So let's just talk animal control. What are we getting for animal control? Are we getting engineered drawings for a building?
To go out for bid, you mean?
Yeah,
No, you're not getting a full set of plans or specs.
okay.
He's going to meet with, I'm assuming Aaron and whomever with animal
Danielle,
control
yeah, okay.
to see what it is they actually need and do some renderings or
Uh-huh.
designs and
Okay.
then put a budget figure to that.
Okay.
He had a quote in there to go into construction design, bidding and specs, but I told Aaron maybe we should just go this
Stair step it.
far for now and look at what the commissioners want to do with the end product.
The 14, what was that for?
The original 14.8, the Lamar Architecture gave Aaron a proposal to do the conceptual design, the budget, then go into permitting, and then go into actual construction design and bidding.
So that's the.
I asked
scope
them
of
to take that off the board and come back with just doing the preliminary work
work. Got it.
and include the animal control building.
Yep. So that answers my question now. In my head, I thought it was more than that. I get it now.
I think there were varying factors to take the construction design off the table.
I think they've got to move forward with something out there. They're stacked
Correct.
to the ceilings, literally.
I know we went out there with part of the county council and Danielle just received a donation and she really wasn't too happy with just bringing people by and they couldn't even get through the hallway and they were, I think, accepting one animal or giving one to a lady and it was crazy tight in there, but
So Dan, what are they needing out there? Are they needing just a place, a storage facility for their food and
they need
their supplies?
So Bob, what we learned, and Terry chime in, but what we learned is they need space. It's got to be separated because if you take in a bunch of animals, they have to be quarantined. You can't put them in the general population, so you need different spaces. They have a space for cats, space for dogs, and so that includes storage. We talked about temporarily. And I think the county council was supportive of it, of getting 2 like 40-foot sea cans or trailers and just getting those out there. You could set them out there and throw a little bit of electricity in there and lighting and solve some temporary needs.
They've had a lot of donations. They had $50,000 in donations.
That's
last
wonderful,
year.
but if you got a place to put it.
Stainless steel dog kennels, and those can go in the sea cans. They're kind of solving their problems with the nonprofit donations, but they're just like everything else in Warrick County. They're growing. I do feel like with the economy settling down, they're going to see more and more of that. They had 3 hoarding cases last month. They took in 136 animals.
My wife called me today. I think they took in around 30 cats today.
Yeah.
And you got to do it by appointment.
But what's this current, do you know the current square footage of that building? I should know that, but I don't.
I don't know it off the top of my head.
It's not real big, is it?
I'm Candace Huebner. I work with the health department. I was actually out there the day the commissioners visited. We've actually seen an increase this year of already 22 animals. I think this afternoon alone, we took in 12 cats. It's nothing on a day for us to take in between 10 and 15 animals. We're literally storing animals in the garage. Animals are brought in for examination, vaccination, and euthanasia all in the same room. We simply don't have space to turn around. When the entire staff is there, there's 5 employees in a room with 3 computers. We have brought in folding chairs to help accommodate some of the space situation. As Commissioner Philippi said, my husband and I drove to Nashville to get some of the kennels. That same weekend, another employee and 2 employees took of their own time to take sick animals to Nashville. Last year alone, Danielle's nonprofit donated generously over $30,000 worth of supplies and medications and food. But unfortunately, with the current climate that we have, everyone is falling on hard times. Eviction cases are on the rise, hoarding situations are on the rise, and the number of animals that they are receiving are also on the rise. The 2 initial sea cans that we had looked at have already sold. So that's where we're at.
Don't doubt that you need space out there, not at all.
Yeah, but definitely the intake is a huge situation. We literally have a space about as big as this where you can walk in between 2 doors, and that's where everything is received in. Tomorrow, for example, is a spay and neuter clinic. We'll take in between 12 and 15 animals with their owners, dropping them all off at the same time in that very small space. So anything you can do would be awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My only concern here is that it seems like an excessive amount of money to throw out a concept instead of designing something. I'd rather pay $20,000 or $25,000 to have a design to build to than to pay $11,000 to draw a picture.
Bobby, let's just go to the South Highway. Did we have this? We didn't
do
have
conceptual first, no.
we didn't do a conception. It was
You're adding on a building here, though, keep in mind.
huh?
So you're adding on to a building here, possibly. That's the idea.
And understood. Well, I guess I was talking about the not so much the rent, but the animal control. That's for a concept of a building, correct?
Is it adding on?
I thought it was a new building.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a new building.
I misunderstood.
I don't know. I mean, I agree with Bob. I just thought
It's a new building.
yeah, it's a new building.
I mean, they need it. They need
Yeah,
space. They
yeah,
need
yeah.
a new building.
Yeah.
I'm just not so sure they need a drawing of a building.
Understood.
I don't think it's exactly a drawing. They'll have the floor plan. He'll work with animal control and the health department to design what they need or what they believe they need. It will have a floor plan and then a look at the building conceptually, and it'll put
It's like a
budget numbers.
preliminary plan.
Yes,
It just won't be blueprints and dimensions.
correct. I don't think he could do that until you decide how to fund it and what you want to fund to move forward.
I mean, I look at it as, as far as the plans are concerned, it's phase 1 of the planning.
I agree. I've just never done it this way. I've just always had.
Yeah, maybe even. All right.
Do we want to discuss this with Aaron? Candace, what do you think? See if he wants to
Well,
go.
I don't want to hold this up.
Yeah.
I mean, they really need some space and they need to get this moving, so
I think it's.
I'm okay with it. I'd rather, yes, ma'am.
Question, is there space for a new building? Is there land for a new building?
You're going to tear down the highway garage and put your building there.
That's great, actually.
Bobby's on board.
No, I'm just teasing with you. I don't know. I haven't researched it, so.
It can, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Does this include that, to kind of looking at the different spaces that we have? That's what I don't know. I'm just not real sure about. I mean, do you know, Debbie?
I still haven't worked out a space for between the jail preliminary and the highway department concept, because they threw like a 5-acre section to us and said, here, you can design your.
But we also said that's enough to basically say no to that. So.
I mean, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
disagree
yeah.
with the health department. It definitely needs some conceptual design. I'm not so sure that we can't just have somebody go out and design and build a building up at animal control if we have the space. So I really,
This here?
That one you just had.
What's that? Where's it? Okay.
So this. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what that means either. Let's just hang on until I understand everything better, I think.
You want table?
Okay. Yeah.
Debbie, we just got some questions on this, so.
Can we set up a meeting with Aaron tomorrow morning or whenever he's got time?
I'd rather see it go from just design something. Give some price to design.
Well, I think, are we throwing away money, just, getting, I mean, we didn't do this with the highway, right? We met with some preliminary, they came with preliminary, and then, right?
Yeah, but we had a space and so I don't know if this is looking at a.
I'm not talking about one of this, but I'm talking about the new building, new building thing, so.
Is this broken out into two sections, this price, to where we can,
We approve.
Do they have
we
a
can
price for a
approve-
final design to add on later? Have we not got that?
It was in their original proposal,
But that was just for the downstairs.
just for downstairs.
They haven't
But we
approved
have-
The agreement, but not the scope.
We have the invoice for that part, right? That's done.
Conditionally
Well,
approve-
I'm not
approve the
sure.
agreement.
Oh, okay.
And I'm
I
not
couldn't
sure
remember.
But the
Yeah.
scope still,
to be determined.
to be determined.
Oh,
Okay, so I make a motion to approve the scope of this, and then, is that right? Is that all been-
Conditionally approved
or conditionally approved,
with the scope to be.
determined later?
Yeah.
Okay, so I make that motion.
Second.
I have a first and a second, all in favor.
Aye.
My motion carries 3-0.
That is all I have. Thank you.
Thank
It's
you,
always the
Mrs.
fun
Levy.
things we get hung up on.
Sorry to always question things, but
Okay, any other items for discussion? Anyone? I'll entertain a motion.
motion to adjourn.
Second?
First and a second, all in favor.
Aye.
My motion carries 3-0.
I know what you're coming, but what did you say out loud, Chicken? I know.
What's that?